Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey, right here on the Dice Tower. Today we're going to be taking a look at this little guy right here, First Rat. This is put out by Pegasus Spiele, and it is about rats wanting to be ratronauts on the moon. Let's get down to the table and take a look, shall we? As we're taking a look at a two-player game here set up of First Rat, you're basically going to see that the player's rat's going to start down here off the board, two of them at least. The other two are going to be over here in the nursery. They have to be grown and fed the right things in order to get up here and start making the trek up towards becoming an astronaut, or rather a ratronaut. So generally speaking, each one of these places are going to be places where you can stop, gather resources, and possibly purchase some things that will help you get more resources, generally speaking, more points. And then once you are accumulate enough resources, you're going to be able to build some of the different things that your rocket is going to need, and then you can also build your entire ship and so forth. But as you can go along, basically all you're trying to do is score the most points, and that's what these things right here are considered. So once you accomplish one of these things. For example, if you spend enough resources to build one of your parts of the rocket ship here, you're going to place one of your scoring cubes out here on the next available spot, and that's how many points you're going to score for having done that at the end of the game. And you can do a number of different things. This is building things, components of your rocket ship. Once you have built 1, 2, and 3, one of each of these, then you're able to place a scoring marker up here because you've completed a rocket ship. Over here, you're able to contribute cheese towards the Ratronauts mission. And if you are able to basically give the mission 10 cheese, you can put one of your scoring markers out here. Once you get one of your Ratronauts up here, they become an actual Ratronaut. You place them right here. They're no longer able to traverse the journey and gather more resources for you. They're simply ready to go for the mission up here. So there's a number of things that you can do to gain points, but that's what each of these different spots here are going to be doing, is scoring you points at the end of the game. Now, as far as your turn is concerned, there is a sequence of play, and it's actually shown here on your player card so that it's not difficult to follow at all. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to move your rats. Now, when you move your rat, you can move one rat 1 to 5 spaces. So I could move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'd be able to collect resources. So I'd be able to get some cheese here, and then I'd be able to build some of the components of your rocket ship, or if you're on one of these spots right here that have a little arrow that's pointing off to a section of that's off the track a little bit, then you can also purchase things. You can go shopping as well, but we'll talk about that in just a few moments. So in moving, you can move one of your rats up to 5 spaces, 1 to 5, or you can move both of your rats 1 to 3 spaces. But if you move both of your rats, they both have to land on the same color space, and then they'll be able to gather those resources. So, for example, let's say that my first one went out here. This is a light bulb space. This is a cool thing because once you move your light bulb up a number of spaces, you basically get double resources for every spot that it is equal to or below whenever you activate that. So going here, I'd be able to move one of my rats up 1 space, but maybe I wanted to go 2. And I'm able to gain a cheese for having done that. Then, on a subsequent turn, I could move both of my dudes up to 3 spaces. So I can move this guy 1, 2, 3, that's another cheese space, and move this guy 1, 2, and that's a cheese space, and then I'd be able to get 2 cheese from that spot. If, like I said earlier, I had my light bulb up past this, then that would have given me 1, 2, 3 cheese, because it's double for everything at or behind that light bulb. One other caveat about movement, let's say that you had a couple of other rats up here like maybe like so, I don't know. and you want to, on your turn, you go 1, 2, and then 1. You'll be able to get this. If you ever land on a space that has another person's rat, then you have to basically pay them a cheese in order to be there. But the same is also true if they land on yours. They're going to have to give you a cheese as well. The second thing you'll do is collect resources. So at this point, if I'm here and here, I would be able to get 1 lemonade and 1 oatmeal box. And those things are used for different kinds of production and building different components for your rocket ships up here. Then you'll be able to go shopping. So as I said, if you're at any of these spaces that have a little arrow here, you can spend the amount of cheese that's there and purchase one of the items that's there. Or, let's face it, we're rats in this game, right? You can steal. What do these different backpacks do? This one gives you +2 light bulbs whenever you generate resources as light bulbs. This one gives you +2 movement on apple cores. This one gives you +1 whenever you gain resources from the green areas. This one gives you +1 whenever you gain resources from the oranges. And this one gives you +2 cheese whenever you're generating cheese as that resource. So that's what these different things do. But whenever you land on one of these things, you can, first of all, gain the resources that is there. So you would move, gain resources, and then you could shop. But if you choose to steal, you actually go back to the beginning like this. And then you'll have to work your way up the track again. Now, you'll see that there are some places here that are kind of like shortcuts on the track. They are exactly that. They're shortcuts. You can go from this place to this place, but you have to get rid of one of your cereal boxes or muffin mix boxes, whatever they are. If you do this one, it takes you 1 calculator to make that shortcut. This shortcut is one of the cans of peas, and this one is one of the lemonade bottles. These energy drinks right here are actually pretty cool because once you have one of them in your tableau, on your turn, when you're generating resources, you can discard this to basically get twice the number of resources that you would have gotten. Now, apple cores are used for movement down here in the burrow. And the burrow is going to be pretty cool because it's going to be, first of all, a place where you can recruit new rats to join your little race. You're also going to be able to get some superpowers down here, and these are just basically abilities that that if you have it, it allows you to break certain rules of the game. This one means that you don't have to spend the resources to use the orange shortcut tunnels. This one counts the oranges and the green spots as the same color, so that would be a space where you could, in this situation, I'm on 2 different colored spots, but if I have that ability, then I'd be able to grab both of those resources because they're considered the same. This one gives you a -1 resource discount whenever you're building parts of your rocket ship up here. Over here, you're able to get, this is another place for you to put out your cubes to get points for at the end of the game. And for every apple core that you get, for example, let's say that I landed here, and then here on my turns, I would have 1, 2, 3. So that means I would be able to go 1, 2, 3. And this is always clockwise movement. When you pass by one of these open spots here, you're able to activate that ability, whatever it is. You don't have to stop there. You can keep going if you wish. But every apple core gives you 1 movement along the burrows. Light bulbs, whenever you pass one of these large light bulbs on the track here, you're able to put one of your scoring markers up here on this track, which will give you another more points as well. So using those light bulbs is actually pretty cool because it's not only going to double the production of each of these spaces whenever you get them, it's also going to give you points up here as well. So it gives you more resources to do stuff with up here, but it also is going to be giving you points up here as well the faster you go up here. So you got 1, 2, and 3 places that give you the ability to put your scoring cube out here on this track. The last place over here, the Crows Market, have all of these little bottle caps that are going to give you bonus points for different things in the game, how well you've done in different points of the game. So whenever you come to the Crow's Nest over here, you can choose to purchase one of these bottle caps, or you can steal it, which means you'd have to go all the way back to the end. So it just depends on what you'd like to do. Whenever you get a rat up here, you can choose to take one of these guys, which is an extra 3 points, or you can release another one of your rats out here. So that's the second way that you can get these guys out here. One is by going past here on the burrow, and the other one is by getting a guy all the way up here and he becoming a Ratronaut. You can bring one up to replace him out there since he is no longer able to be used. Now, the game will end in one of two different ways. The first way is if one person gets all 4 of their rats up here to be Ratronauts, that will trigger the end of the game, and you finish that round, and then scoring happens. The second way that the game will end is if someone gets 8 of their 10 scoring cubes out onto the board. In that particular case, once that happens, that round will finish, and then everybody will play one additional round, and that's why you have 10 scoring cubes and not just 8, because in that additional round, it may be that you're able to put out another scoring cube somewhere, which is why you have the 10, not just 8. But after the end of the game, you simply count up points that you've gotten from all of these different spots, points that you get from your bottle caps, and whoever has the most points is the winner. All right, folks, well, that's about that for First Rat. Now, I have to say right off the bat, as far as my final thoughts getting started here, that this was a complete surprise. A friend of mine, Ilya, on the Dice Tower cruise this year, showed this to me. It was one of the games that he actually brought over onto the cruise with him. And this is kind of was a pet project for him, I think, because he really enjoyed the game, and he was just kind of flabbergasted that it had been largely overlooked. And he wanted to show me how to play the game. He showed I then after I played it, tried to teach the game to Jess and JT and Mel. I think 3 other times. And we just kept running out of time, and we never finished a game of it on the actual cruise. I finished the game that Ilya had taught, and we finished the game that time. But after that, we just had a really hard time finishing the game. But I tried to play it 3 more times on the cruise at that point. And so I was like, well, golly, I got to pick this game up. So I came home, purchased it. It finally came in. We were able to play it. We've played it a number of times. I've played it solo over on the flip side, and did a solo playthrough of it. And I am beyond pleased and pleasantly surprised by this game. And I can't thank Ilya enough for showing it to us on the cruise. But with that having been said, let me go ahead and get to my pros and cons. My first pro of the game is quite simply the theme. The theme is amazingly fun and quirky and unique all at the same time. They could have very easily made this about real astronauts, real moon trips, real rocket ships, but no, it's much more palatable. It's much more appreciative, I guess, to make it about Ratronauts. Now, I know people don't like rats. I get it. They actually seriously disgust my wife. But she actually loves this game, and she hates rats. I mean, loathes entirely rats. But she loves this game because it's so kind of cutesy, I guess you could say. It's so tongue-in-cheek. It's so unique that it almost endears itself to you, even though the focal characters are rats, which are usually not looked upon very well. But the theme is amazing, and the way they implemented the theme, building your rocket ships out of cans and muffin mix boxes, and using apple cores to move around burrows, and using cans of energy drinks to score more points and get more resources. All of this really just kind of works well together to just make a theme that's very inviting, very endearing, and it looks really good on the board too. And that's my next pro. The artwork, the graphic design of the game. Now, I'm usually one that wants a more aesthetic experience with a game, and this definitely checks that box for me, but it does so in a different way. This is more of a cartoony style artwork, and that's what I like about it. It's not that it's more realistic like something like a Vincent Dutrait or anything like that. It's more that it is cartoony. It invites you into that light theme that it has, and this is my next pro. It has mechanisms that fit the theme of the game. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that I don't mean necessarily that the mechanisms help you get yourself into the theme better. That's not what I mean here. What I mean is that the mechanisms are light enough, the theme is light enough to where it all kind of meshes together. You don't have a light-looking game that's hiding heavy mechanisms, and you don't have a heavy theme that's hiding light mechanisms, which that's not as big of a problem in my opinion as it would be the other way around. Here you have a light theme that is showing off a light game, but it's super fun. It's super fun, and it's very strategic because what route are you going to choose to score points? Are you going to go the route of gaining as much cheese as you possibly can and getting a whole bunch of your scoring cubes out there? Or do you want to go the light bulb route and kind of get your light bulb as high up as many times as you can so that you can score as many points as you can on that light? Or are you going to go score points down in the burrows? Are you going to use all of those resources that you're gaining from all those double light bulb points to build as many of the different spots as possible? There's so many different fun ways to score points. There have been many games where I've played that you have multiple ways to score points, but some of them just seem more fun than the others. Well, this one, they all seem fun. They're all fun to do. And the cool thing about it is that you can usually do one or two of the different ways to score points at the same time. You don't have to focus all of your attention on one and then go focus all of your attention on another. You can do this, and that allows you to get points over here and over here. I really like that. I love the fact that the mechanisms were super light and that the theme was super fun and cheeky and light, and I love it when games are like that. Now, my final pro of the game is that it also has a variable setup on the other side of the board. You have this other side of the board here. Now, I'm picking it up and showing it to you because I want you to see that it has empty spaces where all of those different resources will go. And the reason they do that is so that they can have all of these little guys set up so that you can actually create your own board. There are a number of these tiles that have A's on them, and they will be shuffled and put down into the A spots. And then you have others that are B's, and then others still that are C's that will be put into the C spaces. And then finally there are D ones as well, and they'll be shuffled and put out into the order. But on top of that, there are also variable scoring tracks that are put out on the board as well. So you can actually make this a completely randomized setup every single time you play the game. Of course, you're going to want to learn how to play the game on the other side and kind of master the strategies and tactics like that. But on the other side, you can actually continue to play the game and have it be a variable setup every time you play it, which changes slightly how each game will play out. And I really think that that was a great idea because it just elongates the replayability of the game, and I think that's awesome. My one con of the game, if we can go ahead and go there, is that it is a race. You are racing to put out as many of your scoring markers as possible, so that's going to kind of make it to where it's going to end probably a lot faster than you think it's going to end, especially after you're all savvy on how the game actually plays. Your learning games are going to take a little bit of extra time, but once you've got all of the mechanisms down, I think you'll find that the game's going to end a lot faster than you thought it was going to end. A lot of times you come into a game, wow, it's not going to end until you get 8 of these things out here. Well, yeah. And you're going to find that goes pretty fast after a few rounds. So that's a con. If I can use it as a con, it's not really a huge con because it's just part of the game. But you might find that it ends a lot faster than you wanted it to, which is actually kind of a good thing. So there's that. So my rating of the game is quite simply this right here. We're going to do 2 thumbs up. On the dice tower, this is going to be a strong 8 out of 10. Now, what would have made it a 9? I don't know. I'm not going to answer that every single time we do this because I just don't think it matters that much. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I'm going to tell you that you should do exactly what I did. If it interests you enough, go out and purchase it. It's not that expensive of a game. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I did pay for it. I went out and bought this with my money. This isn't a review copy. And because I did that, I'm going to feel okay with telling you to do it if this looks interesting to you. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think it's a great game. It gets 2 thumbs up from me, a strong 8 out of 10 right here on the Dice Tower. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.